Hello, everyone. My name is Michele Tryon, and welcome to CHKD Community Connections Take 10, where we invite you to take 10 minutes out of your day to reflect on your parenting journey and consider some strategies that may be helpful in supporting the well being of your family or students. Today's topic is understanding anger in children with a focus on the age group of 6 to 12-year-olds. This is just a start, 10 minutes of food for thought. I encourage you after listening to continue to reflect on the ideas that are shared. And at any time, you can pause the webinar to consider your thoughts, feelings, ideas about the content of the webinar, and then restart it. Here are our curiosity questions. What causes anger? And how can you prevent, anticipate, or diffuse those angry outbursts? And ultimately, how can a child learn to manage their own emotions? So let's think about this. Is it okay to be angry? Think of the last time you were angry. What was the external situation? So, what was going on outside of you? What was the internal situation? So, what was happening inside of you? Was there some physiology changes in the body? Were you having a dialogue in your head that said this should not be happening? And then what was the unmet need? So just think about that. Anger is a normal emotion. We can recognize it as a pointer in life. So it's pointing to something that is not to our liking. And we also want to have a plan to help our children become aware of anger and learn successful ways to express and manage it. It is a normal emotion. And we can't just say, don't be angry. We have to figure out what to do with it when we get frustrated or irritated. So there's actually two components to anger. There is the unmet need. So let's go back to that. Something happened that you did not expect to happen, or something you did expect to happen did not happen. So energy rushes into our body. Now what? There's that anger energy piece as well. An unmet need, anger energy. What are we going to do with that? So teach a child to express the energy and go back and meet the need in a positive way. If we don't meet the need, then that anger is going to keep showing up. So let's have an example here. Maybe your child wants to go to a friend's house and you say no. They feel angry, they have a meltdown, maybe they say you're so unfair. So ultimately, what is the need? The need is to connect with a friend. And what's your concern? You have a legitimate concern. Maybe you're worried about their safety. Maybe it's a school night and they need to get some sleep. So we want to think it through. Allow them to express themselves in a healthy way without harming themselves, another person, or the environment. And then let's work for a solution to get that need met. We want to help children help themselves. So we're going to teach children to manage their anger. So this is something we can have conversations with these 6 to 12-year-olds about. Anger awareness. Where do they feel it in their body? Anger expression. What's an appropriate way to release the energy and also to identify that unmet need? And then the anger resolution. Can we go back and do some problem solving to get that need met? Very helpful skills that they will need throughout their life. We're going to be angry. Let's be aware of what causes that. Where's it coming from? Where does it show up in our body? How can we express it and resolve the situation in a positive way? So, one thing that the research shows over and over again is fear based reactions don't work. So, when our child does something, maybe acting out might be a word that we'd use for it when they're angry, maybe name calling, maybe hitting something, another person, not being cooperative. Um, Oftentimes, we want to go right to punishment, but we need to recognize that it's really more about solving the problem. We don't want to reinforce the lower center of the brain, which is very reactive. It's when our emotions kind of take over. We actually want to help them work on developing the higher centers, the thinking centers of their brain, so they can feel an emotion and figure out what to do with it. So there's some pitfalls to aggressive punishment. Escape, where the child just really wants to get away from us, whether it's shutting down uh, physically moving away or shutting down, just not having open communication. There can also be aggression. So maybe if they're not aggressive to you, they could be aggressive to younger children, to a brother or sister. Apathy, they just give up. And I've heard children say this, unfortunately, I just feel like I can't do anything right. So there's that level of frustration, and they don't feel supported in trying to resolve the problem. And then counter control. So a way to feel powerful is to push your buttons. Let me get you before you get me, or not to take responsibility for something that they have done, and rather blame somebody else. So there's that counter control piece. So, what can we do if fear based reactions don't work, or fear based discipline, we may call it? Even though discipline is really guiding and leading children, we sometimes get it confused with punishment. Connection models do work. So, we want our children in not in survival mode, but in thriving mode. And in order to thrive, to really think about what's happening and to be successful in life, they need a place for comfort and safety and a person who challenges them to grow. So, what's that balance there? We understand how frustrated they are about something, and we're going to challenge them to figure out how to resolve that upset. So here's some responses to think about what's happening in the environment. Can I make it more user friendly? So is it the same situation over and over again? Maybe it's always getting frustrated or angry about homework. Can we help them figure out some ways to make it more conducive? Maybe they need a brain break every once in a while. Does the child see you as a potential helper or enemy? So if they see you as, oh, I'm here to help you figure out how to deal with your anger, how to resolve a situation. I am here to help you. I want you to be successful. And that comes from a place of empathy. So empathy is the key. Can we see things from the child's point of view, kind of join them in their frustration, and then help them see the light? Why would the child want to change the behavior, or what's the payoff? Right? So why would they want to change their behavior if it's an angry outburst? Well, if every time they have an angry outburst, they get their own way, then that would be a positive payoff for them, even though it's not a positive behavior. And why would they want to change the behavior? Because they want that connection, that relationship with you. So unconditional reconnect time every day, regardless of how the day is going. Let's do something that we enjoy doing together, that we can build that relationship and that connection. And the child is much more likely to want to cooperate if they have a connection with you. We also want to teach the skill of confrontation. So there's passive, aggressive, and assertive communication. Passive is when we don't express ourselves, we let other people take over. Aggressive is when we express ourselves while we're harming other people or ourselves or the environment. What we really want is for someone to be assertive, to communicate, stand up for themselves, express themselves without harming others. What is it that I need? So there is a confrontation formula that we can teach children, especially in these ages 6 to 12. They may not be perfect at it. We're probably not perfect at it either, and we're adults. We want them to state how they feel without blaming another person for that feeling. We want them to describe the behavior or situation that is happening that is related to the feeling. And then we want them to really dig deep and think about, why is this important to me? What is the need? And then describe with clarity what it is that you want. So let's use an example from an adult point of view. I feel frustrated when I come home and there's dishes all over the kitchen because I want to get dinner started. And it's important to me that you kids take responsibility for your own dishes. What I need is for you to figure out before I get home from work at 5 o'clock how this kitchen is going to be cleaned. Are you going to take turns doing it? Are you each going to be responsible for your own dishes? But I want some clarity here, and I want to then give the problem back to them to solve. So, questions winding up here. Just one thing. What did I learn? Did I learn anything new? What did I already know that got reinforced? And what is one change I can make? So, we want to stay underwhelmed. Don't try and change everything at once, and practice self compassion if we're trying to make changes in the way that we interact with our kids. It can be challenging. We're used to habitually reacting in a certain way, and we're going to try and switch things up to make it more conducive for ourselves and our children. So practice that self compassion, and also ask for for forgiveness if we don't do things perfectly. Give ourselves and our children some grace. So I'd like to encourage you to take 10 often, listen to other Take 10 webinars, or check out our many resources at the parenting resources and dads in action links here on the page. Reach out if you have questions. Outreach at chkd.org is a way to reach me. Remember, my name is Michele Tryon, and your pediatrician is always your best source for questions about your child's health and well-being. Thank you for allowing CHKD to be your partner in parenting. Have a wonderful day, everyone.